Good morning, Chris Whelan from the Wellington Centre of Business Excellence, building better businesses. I want to talk to you today very briefly about leadership and how important it is, how absolutely central it is to pretty much everything we do in growing good businesses. Leaders are absolutely visible, right? The tone, we've all heard it said, the tone is set at the top. So leaders are visible, the tone's set at the top, but it's absolutely not about telling people what to do. It's more about inspiring them to get stuff done, right? Because leaders are the ones that actually help people get things done. They grow other people around them. So, and as I say, it's not about telling. The old adage is well done is better than well said. Really comes to mind when I think about leaders. One of the challenges that one sees with poor leadership, or perhaps a couple of challenges one sees with poor leadership, is that you get poor results. Not surprising if you think about a rugby team or a cricket team or any sports team. We know that if the captain is not motivated, if the leadership group is not motivated, the results aren't going to come, right? In business, it's exactly the same. In business, of course, our measurement of success is around profit. It's around growing things. In the sports field, it's about the score, but the score that we keep is around profit. And if a person's a poor leader, if they're not motivating their team to do things better and do things differently, then the fact is the results aren't going to be there. So that's the first point. The second point is, and it's a massively important one, the team is not going to be satisfied. You're not going to be satisfied personally as the business owner or as the leader, but your team's not going to be satisfied either. That's going to have other knock-on effects, whether you have staff attrition, whether people leave, whether they stay, which is even worse, and they're miserable. That's horrible. So you're going to get poor results, poor satisfaction. And of course, the other thing is, and for many people, they get to a point in their life where they want to actually make a contribution to society. They want to make a contribution beyond their job, beyond their business. And if they either following a poor leader or they are a poor leader themselves, that contribution, that legacy is going to be very, very difficult to achieve. So quite negative stuff there. The flip side of that, though, is that the positive aspect of it. If you're a good leader, if you're inspiring others, you've probably seen the video of the Dancing Man. If you haven't, go look at it on YouTube. It's fantastic. The Dancing Man inspires a movement, right? He stands up, he does something different. He's prepared to be out there. People come in behind him and they follow him. Right, so he inspires an entire movement. Eventually, there's a whole bunch of people dancing at I think a rock concert or something on the side of a hill, and that creates a winning combination. The other point, of course, is that the clarity that good leaders provide, the clarity of purpose, the clarity of intention, the clarity of direction, gets other people to follow them. And so you have clarity of where you're going, clarity of what you've got to do, clarity of who's got to do what by when. All of those things lead to a much different result. And the result, I think, that they lead to really is about problem solving. So a good leader inspires the direction, sets the clarity or helps people understand it. And then, of course, the results follow. So very, very positive. A great example of that actually is, and in fact, I'll come back to the example in a moment. Leaders probably have three things that they've got to do, at least three things. They've got to set the direction, as I mentioned. They've got to live the culture of the organization. It's no good saying, we value this. Culture is about behavior. Right? If you've got a good culture and you demonstrate that as a leader, people are going to follow you. And then the third thing is that leaders have got to own the standards, right? So set the direction, live the culture, own the standards. And that's where the example comes in. The example I can think of is Henry Ford, who apparently said, look, we've got a massive 8-cylinder block. We want to get that down into the same size as a 4-cylinder block, but we want that same 8 cylinders. And I might have the details slightly wrong. People said it's impossible. And he said, no, look, that's what we've got to do. He owned the standards. He kept pushing. People came back to him and said, no, we can't do it. The point is that he set that goal. He set the direction. He said, this is the way we're going. And he held people to it. And that was the genesis of the V8 model. They had to recast the entire engine as a result of it, right? So by holding those standards, he changed the outcome quite fundamentally. So that's the first point, those three different roles. The other point, or the different way of saying that, is that I quite like the fact that a leader needs to know the way, right? Know how to get to where you want to get to, go the way, right? To demonstrate that behavior, not just talk about it. And then the third thing is show the way. So you got to know the way, go the way. So going the way is about walking in the right direction and making sure that you're living those values. Knowing the way is about setting the direction, and showing the way is about demonstrating it. Don't tell people to do stuff if you're not prepared to do yourself. Start with yourself, right? So lead yourself first. And really that starts with intention. It's about being clear on your purpose. It's about being clear on the outcomes you want to achieve and focusing on that, setting your intention right up front, and then holding yourself to account. And of course, you can then hold others to account as well. So just wrapping that up for a second then. leadership is about, or the positive outcomes of good leadership, some of the positive outcomes of good leadership is about building movements, right? About getting people to follow, having the clarity, and building almost a wave of the image I've got in my head is a wave of force building up and driving that forward. So that's what good leadership, good inspirational leadership does. It provides clarity of vision, of purpose, and leaders then can actually see what's going on and actually help others to get there as well. So that leadership, that clarity of purpose again comes through very strongly. And ultimately it leads to solving problems, right? Everyone, if you imagine the sports team that's well inspired by the leadership group, nothing can hold them back. They might win, they might lose sometimes, of course, but when they have problems to face, they can address them together because they know that the person's got their back. They know that the leaders are going in the right direction. Those are the sorts of things that I think set leaders apart. I'd love to help you if you have a conversation, if you have a question or that you'd like to have a conversation about. Give me a call on 0222332669. Quick, no obligation, complimentary chat. Happy to help you if I can. All the very best. Have a great week. Cheers. Bye-bye.